Hey there. If you are thinking about leaving California and moving to South Carolina, you might be interested in this information. So, as a former Californian that moved to South Carolina, I became very accustomed, or we as residents of California became very accustomed to not knowing what's going on as far as like our governor, other than just mayhem that he seems to like to cause. But now that I'm in South Carolina, now that we're in South Carolina, I keep saying I, and I mean we, um, I I have again continued to keep an eye on the governor and what they're doing because, as we all know, politics is local. But our governor in South Carolina, Governor Henry McMaster, just released his budget. Like I didn't even know that was a thing that a governor would release a budget, but that's a story for another time. But anyway, as a former Californian that has moved to South Carolina, if you're thinking about doing something similar, you might be interested in this information about what the plans are for South Carolina. His budget was released. I went ahead and printed out my own little copy, and I'm going to go through it with you because it's going to be like, what? How the heck? Okay. Some of it's confusing because I'm not in government, but a lot of it is worthy to share. So that's what we're going to do today. So, by the way, I am Angel with the Gen X team. You are watching the Gen Xers in Low Country channel, and I am a licensed realtor, as is my husband, and we would love to help you call South Carolina home. We are in the Charleston area, and we would love to help you call this place home, just like we did. We vacated California in 2024. And so a call, a text, and email will get that process started for you. And we can start showing you homes and you can start to see what we see, which is that life outside of California is fantastic. It's amazing. Yeah, anyway, so in addition to that, let's go through what McMaster has on his budget. And hey, if you're watching this on live stream with me right now, leave me a comment below and say, hey, if you're watching this on replay, type in replay in the comments because I want to know that it got in front of your eyeballs too. So, and if you're listening on the podcast, thank you, and share this with somebody that you might know is thinking about moving to South Carolina because it's fantastic. It gets better week after week, and we've only been here 6 months. So anyway, all that to say, let's go through it. I am 54, so I need my glasses. Okay, so his focus is on fiscal responsibility, tax cuts, teacher pay raises, infrastructure, and more. People in government always love to say infrastructure. Roads and bridges. That's always one of the things that they talk about. Okay, so first things first, the budget has a surplus. Not just an extra $20 that they can't figure out how to spend, $1.8 billion surplus. So I don't know if you've seen the local news on like maybe Realtor.com or Bloomberg, but South Carolina is in the top 5 states that were moved to in 2024, right behind, I think it was Utah, Florida, Texas, of course, South Carolina. And then I want to say the other one was, I can't remember what the fifth one was, but we were the 4th moved to state in 2024. So holla for those of us here in the Palmetto State. So first of all, yeah, he has a budget surplus, 1.8. So all the eyeballs, all the people, all the tax money that's coming in, he's using it appropriately so far. The biggest one that is like top notch on his budget is that he's going to propose a reduced personal income tax from 6.2% to 6. Yes, please. Again, as a former Californian, we were paying 13% in taxes there, 13% in personal income tax. So a reduction, first of all, yes. Second of all, from 6.2 to 6, I don't know that that's going to rock anybody's world, but I'll take a reduction in personal income tax. Yes, and amen. That would be an additional $193 million savings to all of us taxpayers. Okay, and then he wants to go even further. He wants to potentially take it lower. Okay, Gov. Okay, McMaster, let's go. Next thing on the list, excuse me, is that it's a disaster relief element to his budget. So it's a $50 million set aside for Hurricane Helene related transportation costs. So as you know, Hurricane Helene hit our state as well as North Carolina, Georgia, Florida in the month of September, October 2024. And it really did some damage. So that is what this is going to go toward. Is going to go toward like replenishing some of those damaged areas from that hurricane. And then $40 million to replenish disaster relief funds. So he's got to replenish the coffers from what they used from the hurricanes. And then $150 million for South Carolina public assistance programs for local recovery efforts. So obviously hurricanes happen. 2024 was an anomaly of a year. We got three. We had Debbie, Helene, and Milton, all within a matter of like 9 weeks. Wizza. And yeah, so they're replenishing the coffers and setting things aside, it looks like, for future recovery efforts, because we're probably going to get another hurricane. I pray to God that we don't have three next year, because that was quite a welcoming committee as a new resident of South Carolina. I'm like, what? What's going on? Why do we have three hurricanes? Anyway, by the way, again, if you are watching this on the replay, let me know in the comments below. If you're watching this live, leave me a comment and say hey, and let me know where you're watching from. If you're here in South Carolina with me, if you are watching in California, because you've got eyes on South Carolina. Like I said, we'd love to help you call this place home, because we are loving it. Okay, so the next one is education initiative. So this one's got a lot of pieces and parts to it. So right now, the minimum salary for a teacher in South Carolina is like, I think 45,000. And he is raising the target minimum salary to teachers here in South Carolina to a $50,000 a year minimum salary. Now, if you're watching this from California, you're like, that's not even close to what's going to support me. But for those that might be watching this from a lower taxed state, a $50,000 minimum for teachers is pretty significant. So it's roughly, if my numbers are correct, that they are earning 45 now, a $5,000 jump is good. So it's a $200 million budget allocation for teachers to have a minimum starting salary in the 2025 school year of $50,000. So that's great. And then also school choice, which if you're looking at homeschooling, if you're looking at doing some sort of a charter or a co-op or something, $30 million for education scholarship trust fund. So it sounds like he's going to pull money from the main dollars for the education and for the school choice programs that he has in this state. If I am wrong, I apologize, but that is what I read the information to mean. School resource officers. This one, all pay attention. An additional $21 million to ensure officers in all schools. Personally, I think this is a perfect job for a veteran, but they generally use registered police officers for this, but that means that every public school will have an armed officer on campus. All the praise hands. Again, what could go wrong with that? Like, that's fantastic. So he's making sure every school in the state has a school resource officer. Yes. And then needs-based financial aid, $80 million for needs-based grants, $20 million for private institutions. So setting more money aside for higher education. Let's see, what's another big one? The joint base that we have here in the Charleston area, this one might benefit them. It says $20 million for Battelle Alliance for nuclear research partnership. So our joint base here is like Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine. I don't know how many are there, but there's a lot of them, and it's a nuclear base. So that might have something to do with that. And so back to more healthcare investments, proposed $100 million for a new neurological hospital in collaboration with the University of South Carolina. Okay. And a $112 million additional funding for state health plan with cost containment measures. So that's probably if you are a state employee and your healthcare that goes with that. They're making sure that you guys have what you need as far as your healthcare goes. Law enforcement. This is really cool. This one is continued investment in law enforcement, pay, and new hires. And this one's really cool for somebody that's going to help you potentially get a house. Is you've got a $2,000 state income tax credit if you're a first responder. I don't know what it is now, but that's pretty cool. $43 million has been set aside for the Department of Corrections. Prisons always need to be updated. They've got to make sure that they're secure and the AI is doing all that it needs, and that the extra dangerous criminals are protected and secure in addition to the less dangerous criminals. So put the money there. That's fine. $43 million to that. And then another set, he's got a study going on for the underground electric power lines to prevent hurricane related outages. Yes, we get hurricanes. Yes, we get very strong winds and rain. So he's making sure that we're not going to lose power in the middle of all those. Again, I as somebody that has never seen a single budget of Gabby in California, I've never seen a single. All I know is that when we were living there, there $74 billion in the hole. There would be no budget to be had or seen or read in the state of California. And I don't know about you, but like for the last handful of years, I feel like there's been an awakening for people and their eyes on local government, school boards, and a lot of the drama that's happened around our country with people being ostracized for pushing back against narratives and whatnot. So I feel like there's been like this sleeping giant of people that have kind of awakened, had their eyes opened. And now we're really paying extra close attention. And as I said, government and politics are always best when you start local. So even though this might not be local for you, this is still, local for those of us that live here in South Carolina. And then it trickles down to our county and our senators and congressmen that represent us. So anyway, I hope you found this information valuable. I'm floored to be able to see a budget surplus and to see, law enforcement to be going to all of the public schools, to have teacher pay raises. I mean, there's just a lot of yes and amen to this budget. And I couldn't wait to bring it to you. Now, I don't know if this is something that you are interested in, but this channel is devoted to all things learning about living in South Carolina. As I said, we're former Californians, so we are exploring the area. We are realtors in the area. I'm also still licensed in California as well. And we would love to have you be a part of our community. We are Gen Xers. We're in that 2.0 season of our life where we're, just kind of like stepping into like, okay, we're done raising the littles. Now it's time for some bigger, better, awesomer things at this time of our life. So we'd love for you to be here week after week. We've got more things planned for this channel. And I appreciate you watching this. Again, if you are interested in moving to South Carolina, we would love to hear from you. A call, a text, an email. All the information is down below. And I will see you next time.